Imagine this, you wake up tomorrow morning and someone tells you this is your last day. How would you spend it? Who would you call? What words would you finally say out loud? Most of us don't think like this. We live as if our time is unlimited, but here's the truth, it isn't. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Now, I know those words sound heavy, but the Stoics never meant them to scare us. They meant them to wake us up, to sharpen our senses, to remind us that life isn't happening tomorrow or someday in the future, it's happening now. When you truly understand that every breath, every heartbeat is a limited, precious gift, something changes. The small stuff, the gossip at work, the stranger's rude comment, the endless scroll through your phone suddenly feels meaningless. And what matters most rises to the surface. This is why the Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus, practiced this awareness every single day. Marcus himself wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Think about that. He wasn't saying, fear death. He was saying, let it guide you. Because when you know your time is limited, you stop waiting for the right moment. You stop putting off that conversation, that dream, that chance to say, I love you. I've seen it in my own life. The moments I've been most awake, most alive, were the times I realized how fragile it all is. Sitting beside a hospital bed, standing at a graveside, watching someone I love walk away. Those moments burned a truth into me. Life is not guaranteed. And once you carry that truth, you start living differently. You look at your day, even the ordinary Tuesday, and you see a chance to be fully present, to listen deeply, to act with purpose, to love without holding back. So, I want you to ask yourself right now, if you knew your time was short, what would you do differently today? Because here's the gift hidden inside the reality of death. It frees us. It frees us from distractions, from fear, from wasting the hours we'll never get back. And in that freedom, life becomes richer, deeper, and infinitely more meaningful. This is the heart of memento mori. Not morbid obsession, not doom and gloom, but the radical presence that comes from knowing and truly accepting that our time here is brief. And once you live with that awareness, everything changes. Have you ever noticed how things feel different when you know they are about to end? Think about the last day of a vacation. Suddenly, the sunset feels warmer, the food tastes richer, and every little moment with the people you love seems to matter more. That's the strange gift endings give us. They wake us up. Now here's the thing. Life itself is one long vacation with an unknown return date. And when you truly accept that your time here is limited, it changes everything. The little stuff, the rude driver who cut you off, the email that annoyed you, the worry about what someone thinks, it starts to fade into the background. You realize most of what steals your peace isn't worth the energy you give it. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Read that again. He wasn't telling us to live in fear. He was telling us to live in focus, to strip away the noise and tune into what's real, the here and now. Because when you carry the awareness of mortality, every ordinary moment becomes extraordinary. Your morning coffee isn't just caffeine, it's a quiet ritual to savor. A hug isn't just routine, it's a fleeting miracle. Even the tough moments, the arguments, the challenges, the pain, take on new meaning. They remind you you're still here, still breathing, still in the fight. I've felt this in my own life. I remember visiting a friend in the hospital. She was smiling even though she was hooked up to machines. When I asked why, she said, "Every breath I get is one more I didn't know I'd have." That stayed with me. Because in that moment, she was more alive than most people outside those hospital walls. That's what mortality does, it sharpens our senses. It's like putting on a pair of glasses and finally seeing what's been in front of you all along. You notice the color in the sky, the tone in someone's voice, the way your own heart beats when you're doing something that matters. And here's the truth. You don't need a crisis to feel this. You don't need to wait for loss or tragedy to wake up. You can choose to live this way now. So let me ask you, what if today was the last time you walked through your front door? The last time you saw your coworker's face? The last time you tucked your child into bed, would you rush through it, distracted by your phone? Or would you slow down and really see it? Because mortality is not just about death, it's about life. It's the lens that magnifies beauty and meaning in joy and in hardship. And the more you remember it, the richer your life becomes. Don't wait. Don't postpone the presence you could have right now. Look around you, listen, feel. Because this moment you're in, it will never come again. You know, there's something strange about how we live. Most of us walk through life as if we have all the time in the world until one day something reminds us we don't. It could be losing someone we love, facing a health scare, or simply realizing another year has passed and we're still waiting for the right time. Death, as uncomfortable as it is to think about, has this incredible way of sharpening our focus. But here's the thing, urgency isn't the same as panic. Panic is frantic, messy, like trying to put out a fire with your bare hands. Urgency, the kind that comes from truly understanding life's limits, is calm and laser-focused. It's knowing exactly what matters and gently but firmly letting go of what doesn't. The endless scrolling, the petty arguments, the little distractions we give so much energy to, suddenly, they just don't feel worth it anymore. Instead, you start to see the real treasures, conversations that make your heart feel lighter, work that actually means something, moments that won't come again. When death reminds you that your time is finite, you stop needing everything to be perfect before you start. You take the trip. You say the words. You try the thing you've been dreaming about, even if you're scared. This awareness doesn't just make you braver, it makes you clearer. You stop asking, "What will people think?" and start asking, "Will I regret not doing this?" And the truth is, most of the time, you will regret the chances you didn't take far more than the mistakes you made along the way. But there's a balance. Urgency isn't about throwing caution to the wind and rushing through everything. It's about pairing purpose with peace, moving forward with intention, not recklessness, acting from a place of clarity, not fear. So let me ask you, if you knew you had less time than you think, what would you stop doing today? And more importantly, what would you finally start? There's a dangerous little word that quietly steals years from our lives. That word is someday. Someday, I'll take that trip. Someday, I'll start my business. Someday, I'll tell them how I really feel. We tell ourselves we're waiting for the right time, the perfect moment when everything will line up, but if we're honest, most of the time that's just fear wearing a nice disguise. The Stoic philosophers had a simple, urgent message. Begin living immediately. Not tomorrow, not next month, now. Every breath you take is a chance to act, to love, to create something that matters. But when we cling to someday, life starts to slip through our fingers, not in big dramatic ways, but in tiny, quiet moments that add up to decades. Here's the truth, conditions will never be perfect. Life doesn't come with a green light that suddenly flashes, now you're ready. There will always be uncertainty, always be risk, always be something you don't know yet. And if you keep waiting until you feel 100% ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. So what's the answer? Start where you are with what you have and do what you can today. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Maybe it's making that phone call you've been putting off. Maybe it's spending 30 minutes working on that book idea. Maybe it's booking the ticket instead of just browsing for the 100th time. Here's a practical challenge. Write down 3 things you've been delaying, actions, conversations, projects, and ask yourself one question for each. What am I actually afraid of? Once you name that fear, you strip it of its power. Life isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It's happening right now in this moment. And the longer you stay in someday, the smaller your world becomes. So take the step, however small it feels, and begin. Because someday isn't a day on the calendar. It's amazing how much space in our minds gets taken up by things that, in the grand scheme of life, barely matter. Someone cut you off in traffic. A coworker didn't say good morning. A comment online rubbed you the wrong way. These small, petty concerns might seem harmless, but they weigh us down like pebbles in a backpack, tiny, yet exhausting when carried day after day. The Stoic philosophers taught that events themselves are neutral. It's not the thing that happens to us that causes suffering, it's our judgment about it. Think about that. The traffic jam isn't stressful by itself. It becomes stressful because we decide it shouldn't be happening. That offhand remark from a friend isn't hurtful until we assign it meaning. Here's a simple practice that can change everything. When something starts to bother you, ask yourself, will this matter in a year? Or even better, is this within my control? If the answer to either question is no, then you've just given yourself permission to let it go. Because here's the truth, your attention is one of the most valuable things you have. Wherever you place it, your energy follows. And if that energy is constantly being siphoned away by trivial irritations, you won't have much left for the things that actually matter. Your values, your relationships, your purpose. This isn't about ignoring life's problems or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing consciously and daily where your mind gets to live. It's about protecting your mental space like it's sacred because it is. So the next time something petty tries to steal your peace, picture yourself holding that pebble in your hand. You can carry it all day, letting it weigh you down, or you can simply open your fingers and let it fall. Because life's too short to waste your strength on stones that were never worth carrying. Most people drift through life on autopilot, reacting to whatever happens, pulled in every direction by other people's demands, social media notifications, or just sheer habit. But living with intention is different. It's about steering your life, not just floating wherever the current takes you. Living with intention means aligning your actions with your deepest values, virtues, and purpose. It's not just about knowing what's important, it's about acting on it, moment by moment. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said it best: waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, stop debating the theory of a good life and start living it. So how do you do that in practice? First, define what truly matters to you. Not what society says should matter, not what your neighbor is chasing, but what you want your life to stand for. Is it kindness, courage, creativity, contribution? Once you know, you can begin your day with a clear focus. Here's what matters today, and here's how I'm going to live it. And don't just set intentions once and forget them. Revisit them regularly. Pause in the middle of your day and ask yourself, am I still moving toward what I care about most? Or have I been pulled off course? Remember, intention is a compass, not a cage. It points you in the right direction but still allows you to adapt, change your route, and respond to life's surprises. The goal isn't rigid perfection, it's steady alignment. When life gets chaotic, your purpose becomes your anchor. It keeps you grounded when the waves get high. And here's the beauty of it. Setbacks stop feeling like failures. They become refining fires, shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more true to yourself. So ask yourself, if my life were a message to the world, what would I want it to say? Then live that message every single day. There's a quiet truth about life that we often try to ignore. Nothing lasts forever. Every moment, every person, every experience is in constant motion, always changing, always passing. At first, that truth can feel uncomfortable, even sad. But when you really let it sink in, it transforms the way you see the world. When you realize that everything is temporary, you start to cherish each moment as something rare and irreplaceable. The coffee with a friend, the sound of your child's laughter, the way the sunlight hits your kitchen table in the morning, these aren't just everyday details. They are once-in-a-lifetime moments happening right now, never to be repeated in exactly the same way. This shift in perspective does something powerful. You begin to loosen your grip on possessions, titles, and the endless chase for more. You understand that what truly matters can't be owned, it can only be experienced. Gratitude becomes easier, humility comes naturally, and the pressure to control everything starts to fade. Of course, loss and change are part of the deal. People leave, seasons end, chapters close. But instead of resisting these truths, you can learn to embrace them. When you accept impermanence, you stop fighting reality and start finding peace within it. One way to live this out is through small daily rituals of mindfulness. Take a moment to really notice the wind on your skin, the taste of your meal, the smile of someone you love. Say thank you out loud if you can for something you might have otherwise overlooked. Because one day you'll look back and realize the small things were actually the big things. And the beauty of impermanence is this: it doesn't diminish life's value, it multiplies it. So the next time you catch yourself wishing a moment would last forever, smile and let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it matters enough to be treasured exactly as it is. Time is the one resource you can never earn back. Once it's gone, no second chances, no refunds. The Stoics saw time not just as something we use, but as the very fabric of our existence. Marcus Aurelius called it a violent current of events, always flowing forward, never pausing for anyone. And yet, so often we treat time like it's endless. We waste hours scrolling, overthinking, or chasing things that won't matter a year from now. But if time is life, then how we spend our hours is how we spend our lives. That's why the first step to using time wisely is learning to distinguish between what's urgent and what's important. Urgent things scream for your attention: emails, notifications, endless to-do lists. Important things, however, quietly shape your future, building relationships, learning something new, creating, reflecting. If you're not careful, urgency will steal your life while importance waits patiently in the corner. We also have to guard our time from distractions. Every just 5 minutes on something meaningless isn't just 5 minutes lost. It's a piece of your life you'll never get back. But using time wisely doesn't mean filling every moment with productivity. Rest isn't wasted time. It's essential fuel. Just like an athlete recovers between games, we need to recharge so we can show up fully when it matters. So here's a thought. What if you started treating your time like a precious investment? Imagine if every hour you spent was shaping the person you're becoming. Would you spend it the same way you did yesterday? At the end of the day, it all comes down to this simple truth: how you use your time is how you live your life. Choose with care. Regret is one of the heaviest emotions we carry. But here's the thing: not all regrets are the same. Some can guide us. Others we need to let go of before they eat us alive. There are two kinds of regret. The first is essential regret, the kind that happens when our actions betray our own values. Maybe we weren't honest when it mattered. Maybe we stayed silent when we should have spoken up. This type of regret, painful as it is, can be useful. It's a mirror showing us where we fell short, so we can grow and live more in alignment next time. Then there's non-essential regret, the kind that festers over things we couldn't control. The job we didn't get because the company downsized. The relationship that ended because someone moved away. The opportunities that simply weren't meant for us. Carrying these regrets is like trying to sail with an anchor dragging behind you. They don't teach you anything, they just keep you stuck. The Stoic practice here is simple but powerful. Learn from your mistakes, then release them. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. And when the mind wants to replay what's already gone, remind yourself of Marcus Aurelius' wisdom to focus on the sheer privilege of being alive today. Because the truth is, you can't live fully in the present while your heart is chained to the past. Every ounce of energy you free from unnecessary regret becomes fuel for what matters now. Your relationships, your purpose, and the moments that are still in front of you. So ask yourself, what am I still holding onto that's already beyond my control? And more importantly, what lesson can I take from what truly matters? And then finally set the rest down. Because a life well lived isn't one without mistakes, it's one without wasted regret. Most of us live as if tomorrow is guaranteed. We plan for someday, as though it's a promise written in stone. But the truth, none of us knows how many tomorrows we have left. And that's exactly why facing the reality of death isn't morbid, it's liberating. Death strips away the illusions we carry. It cuts through the noise and leaves only what truly matters. The petty arguments, the endless chasing of status, the distractions we let devour our days, they all lose their grip. What rises to the surface instead are the things that give life meaning. The people we love, the values we stand for, the work that lights us up from the inside. When you face your own mortality, something shifts. Fear-based hesitation begins to fade. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I never try? You begin to live more authentically, speaking your truth, taking risks, and no longer waiting for the perfect moment that will never come. Even suffering changes shape. Hardship stops feeling like a cruel punishment and starts becoming a teacher, showing you how to be patient, how to be compassionate, how to grow in strength and virtue. The Stoics had a simple, powerful practice, memento mori, remember that you will die. Not to scare yourself, but to remind yourself to truly live. You can turn this into a daily ritual. Pause each morning and ask, if today were my last, would I spend it this way? Let the answer guide your choices. Let it deepen your gratitude for the smallest of moments, the sound of laughter, the warmth of the sun, the taste of your favorite meal. Because when you make peace with the fact that life will end, you finally understand how precious it is. And in that understanding, you stop just existing and start truly living. If you had only 1 year left to live, what would you do differently? Would you still waste hours scrolling, avoid the hard conversation, or keep postponing your dreams? Or would you finally start living the way you were meant to? For the Stoics, death wasn't a shadow to run from, it was a teacher. The greatest teacher. Because when you truly accept that your time is finite, you start to see what's real and what's just noise. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Imagine if you carried that awareness into every decision. Fear of failure, gone. Fear of rejection, faded. Suddenly, the little hesitations that used to hold you back lose their grip. Death's reminder doesn't make life darker, it sharpens it. You notice the kindness in a stranger's smile. You appreciate the way sunlight dances on your morning coffee. You choose words with care because you know you may not get another chance to say them. And you start living with integrity, not to impress anyone, but because peace comes from knowing you stayed true to yourself. The key is balance. Let mortality fuel your urgency, but pair it with acceptance. Move with passion, but also with wisdom. Live boldly, but not recklessly. Every day is a page you can't rewrite. Every conversation is an opportunity you won't get back. So act as if your life depended on this very moment, because in a way it does. And when the end does come, you'll look back not with regret, but with the quiet satisfaction of someone who didn't just count their days, but made their days count. If there's one truth the Stoics understood better than most, it's this. Knowing that we will die is not a curse, it's a gift. Mortality has a way of cutting through the noise, silencing the petty distractions, and dissolving the fears that hold us back. It reminds us that life isn't something to hoard for later, it's something to live right now. When you truly hold this awareness in your heart, you stop drifting. You start living with urgency, not in a frantic rush, but with a clear focus on what matters most. You become fully present because you know each moment is unrepeatable. And you find courage because fear loses its power when you realize time is too short to live in hesitation. The wisdom here is simple, but it demands action. Live boldly, love deeply, act intentionally, speak the words you've been holding back, take the leap you've been avoiding, show up for the people who matter, not tomorrow, today. Because here's the final truth, life is fleeting, but it's yours to shape. Every choice you make, every conversation you have, every moment you embrace is a brushstroke on the canvas of your legacy. So the question is, when your time here is done, what story will your life have told? Whatever your answer is, start writing it now.